Hey guys, so today we're looking at the number plane, which is also known as the Cartesian plane. You'll get used to the name Cartesian plane more in the future. Firstly, we need to go through some important, facts about how our number plane looks, okay? So basically we've got two axes here, and in our next video, we're going to look at a larger Cartesian plane that includes negative numbers as well. But for the moment, we're just looking at this one, which is all positive numbers. So the top right of the Cartesian plane all deals with positive numbers. So the axis that runs across the horizontal is called the x-axis, okay? And the one that is vertical is the y-axis, okay? Sometimes when we are doing these questions, you're going to be asked to plot points, or you're going to be asked to give the names of points or identify where points are on a number plane. So I've got some points here, and basically I've got different names for them, okay? I've got A, C, and 4. Usually they would all be letters, okay? Or you'd just be putting in a dot, okay? But sometimes you can have different names that you are plotting on your Cartesian plane. So firstly, let's go about finding point A. Before we jump into that, it's important to understand this O here. The O is known as, it's actually known as 0, it's an O, and it's called the origin. Okay, so the origin is where it begins, where it starts, okay? So we've got y-axis, that's the vertical one, horizontal one's x-axis, and then the origin here. Now, our first point is point A, okay? So let's have a look at point A. And when we look to plot something on our number plane, we always crawl before we climb, okay? So that means we go along the horizontal first, and then we go up or down, okay? So we have number 1, all right? So number 1 on the x-axis is right here, okay? So this is where we're going to start right now. Then we need to go to number 4, which is going to be on the y-axis, because we've crawled and now we're ready to climb. So let's climb up here to number 4, and this is where we would put point A, okay? Let's have a look at C. We need to go to 3 firstly, so we crawl along here to 3, okay? And then we go up to 6. So we go all the way up to the top to 6. So that is point C. Now, it's important to understand too that sometimes you'll find that Cartesian planes will have lines drawn into them, okay? A lot of the time they will, all right? That's just to help you reference and make sure that it's in a proper line. If I look at that C, it's a little bit too far to the left. Now let's have a look at point 4. So point 4 is going to be at number 2 and then 4. I know that looks a little bit like a 1, sorry about that, but point 2 and then 4. So we come across to 2 and we go up to 4, and point 4 is going to sit right there, okay? So that's plotting points. If we were looking at something else, let's just say I'm going to put in a Z here, okay? If I had a Z and my question said, where is point Z on the Cartesian plane? I would firstly go across, okay? There's always crawl, and there we go. That's pretty much in the middle. So let's go to 6. I was meant to do 6. So over here to 6, all right, and I would write down Z, 6, comma, and then across here to 5 on the y-axis, okay? So that's how you plot points, and that's how you read points. The other thing that you're going to encounter are input and output boxes, and basically how these work is we've got our x-axis and our y-axis. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to translate this information over here to our number plane, and I'm going to get rid of those points because we're actually going to do this. Now, sometimes they're associated with a rule. You might get a table when you're first starting out that's completely full, and it'll say, plot these points on the number plane, and you look at the top one, and you look at the bottom one, and then you come over here and you plot it on your Cartesian plane. However, when we're looking at ones that have a rule, basically here it says y equals x plus 1, which means that this here, which is y, is going to equal x. So for x in this box, it equals 1. Okay, so all of these points are x plots, so they all equal x at different times, okay? But we can change, that's the great thing about variables, we can change variables to whatever we want to suit our situation, okay? So here, we're going to have to find out the value of y. And we do that by doing x plus 1. So in this instance, this is x. So we do 1 plus 1, okay? So our y point for that is going to be 2. We come over here. Once again, x is 2, okay? So now we have to, once again, add 1. So 2 becomes 3, okay? 3 plus 1 becomes 4, and 4 plus 1 becomes 5. Sometimes you might have different rules associated with that. Sometimes you may actually have to find the rule. So you might get a table that's made out and it'll say find the rule that has been used in order to determine y, okay? And you'll need to look back, and if I was looking at this, I'd go, okay, well, to find out y, they've added 1 to x. So my rule would be y equals x plus 1, okay? So now let's plot these over here on our Cartesian plane. So we've got 1 and 2, all right? And I'm just going to put these in simply as dots, okay? I'm going to put these in simply as dots, okay? And then we've got 2 and 3. Then I've got 3 and 4, 4 and 5. Okay, so there we can see our points have been made into a diagonal line, okay? So that is the introduction to the number plane, the Cartesian plane, okay? Next lesson we're going to look at the bigger one, okay? But hopefully you understand some of those things.